Sure.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। My koti koti pranams to the wonderful, wonderful devotees assembled here in Modesto today, and also some of the other devotees who are joining us from different parts of USA and India. I'm just so happy, Viduji, for being here. And I have to tell you that I missed meeting you all in January. So now my new year has begun on a very happy note. And so in our previous sessions that we have been having for, I think, quite a few months now, and so we were basically talking about various aspects. We talked about the devotional service and 9 items, basically, or levels or stages of devotional service. And we had also talked about what pure devotional service is prior to that. And we also talked about cooperation. And we also talked about how in this material world, a lot of times we face desperation. And so it started with a nice note on us, learning about the devotional service, stages of devotional service, but the year kind of ended on an unhappy note, where we were just handling the realities of life. That this is a place where there is unhappiness, but not all is lost. It's a new year, and we will start on a new note here with positive attitude and a positive feeling. So maybe if I get invited again next month after this, that I put together a slide deck, and which has got um, content in it, which I think I might not be able to cover in 1 hour today. So we might continue this nice topic on happiness. And so usually when we meet somebody who's very successful, right? So we just ask him that, tell us the secret of your success. Give us the mantra that you have. What is the mantra that I should chant? And then I will get the same thing again, same result. So that's the power of the mantras. And so we know that there is only one mantra in this Kali Yuga, which is the most effective and which is the most lenient mantra. And I'm saying lenient mantra in the sense that, other mantras, if we don't pronounce them properly, then we get a wrong result from there. We can get an exactly opposite result. But with the Hare Krishna mantra, Maha Mantra, it's very, very merciful. And all that we have to do is to sit, and with a lot of faith and reverence, we chant the names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today also we're going to go through the slide deck and we're going to talk about what could be some of the mantras that we can imbibe in our lives to be happy in this material world, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as Dukhalayam. So just as you have Pustakalaya. So what's a Pustakalaya? Can somebody tell me what's a Pustakalaya? Library, right? So if you want to split the word Pustakalaya into two, it is Pustak plus Ale. Very good. And what does Pustak mean?
Book.
Book. And what does Ale mean?
Book. Mandir.
Okay. Or a home, right? It's a home, right? So then we have Bhojanalaya. What is a Bhojanalaya?
जहाँ पे खाना बनता है
भोजन का मंदिर.
किचन
A place of bhojan, right? Bhojanalaya, Vaishnav Bhojanalaya, we hear like that, right? Now, of course, unfortunately, most of the Bhojanalayas are closed these days because of COVID, but nevertheless. So a place where there is bhojan is a Bhojanalaya, a place where there is a pustak is Pustakalaya. What is Nyayalaya?
जहाँ पे जस्टिस किया जाता है न्याय किया जाता है
Right.
कोर्ट
Right. So where there's justice, there is that's called Nyayalaya. So similarly, Dukhalaya will be Chikitsalaya. Fantastic. Yeah. So what would be Dukhalaya then?
जहाँ पे दुख घर का जाता है
Where there's dukh, right? And then Krishna and Krishna says this is Dukhalaya. Somebody Dukhi dukh hai. Yes, very right. Yeah. It is dukhi dukh is full of unhappiness. This world is full of unhappiness. Dukhalayam. And then Krishna makes it worse by saying Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means it's not permanent. So whatever little happiness that you will have, steal, or somehow manage to get in this material world, that is not a permanent happiness. So it's like, pehle karela kadhua, upar se neem chada, right? Bad enough that you had a bitter gourd, and then now on top of that, there's a dish of bitter gourd, and then you are garnishing it with neem leaves, which are themselves. So this is how the life is for us over here. And so we have to find some way out of this. So I'll attempt to do that, taking refuge of the Shastras as usual. And I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint slide deck over here and start sharing that with you on my screen here. And if you can tell me whether you're able to see my my presentation here, okay? So just beginning to do that, and I'm going to share my screen, share my desktop number 2. So right now, what do you see? Do you see a PowerPoint slide deck or do you see something else?
Yes. Yes, we do.
And what do you see on there?
We see the ocean and the hills.
Very good. Does somebody recognize what this is? This is from the Bay Area.
Bay.
Anybody who lived here in the Bay Area before? Remember this? Okay. This is the famous Highway 1. This is the Highway 1, right? This is the beautiful Highway 1. And this particular area is Big Sur. It's called a Big Sur. And it's a place where people go and do camping. Right? Yeah. So it looks like a very beautiful place. Prakriti is so enchanting and so captivating that when you look at these beautiful places, it's like, what's wrong with this material world? Why does Shraddha Mataji come and, just bother us every month telling us all these things? This is such a beautiful place. I might live here forever. I want to come back here again. This is beautiful, right? So this is what it is. Prakriti is very, very alluring and very, very captivating, and we have to be very cautious of that. So now I'm going to throw the PowerPoint slide deck on that screen. If you can see it, please confirm and let me know.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And I have one small request. Fantastic. I have one small request of you that for the benefit of others, if you are in a noisy background, if you can mute yourself, but please do feel free to interrupt me in the middle of my discourse here. And if you have any questions, then please feel to stop me and ask me. You can unmute yourself at that time, ask the question, and mute yourself again there. Okay. So we had the beautiful, beautiful Kirtan where we were talking about asking Hanuman to come back because Sri Ram was waiting for him. That was such a beautiful sentiment. And then again, Mataji also sang such a beautiful song. So then we're going to go into Krishna Katha. Anything related with this material world is also Krishna Katha, because this material world is also one of Krishna's energy. It happens, it might be a inferior energy, but nevertheless, it is Krishna's energy. So anything to do, any topic, any discussion still fall in the category of Krishna Katha. And then, of course, in the end, we'll have some reflections there. So happiness mantras, that's the topic for today. And so I'm going to show you some slides here. And it's a very short incident that I'm going to project through these slides. And so just listen carefully and watch it also carefully. So there was a man who went to the, he was going from one place to another place. And on the way, there was a jungle, and he had to cross the jungle to go to his destination. And this man was walking. It was a short distance, and he thought that, doesn't matter. I'll be there. I'm very good at jogging. I have got good health. Let me just, make the dash and go over there. Now, as he was entering, as soon as he entered the jungle or the forest, then he was being chased by a tigress. Now, this tigress had recently laid her little cubs. And so she was very scared when she saw a human being, thinking that this man has come to get my things. So it's a motherly affection, that mother has for the kids. And they are very protective about the kids. And so was this tigress. And so this tigress started following the man. And the man got scared and he started running. And so guess what? If you start to run, the tigress will also run after you. So he starts running and running and running. He's, through the forest, up and down, man is running. And as you can see, it's a forest. It's a terrain that is unknown to him. Mark my words. It's a terrain that is unknown to him. He does not know what is there, what the pitfalls are, where the mountains are going to come, where the water is going to come, when a rock is going to fall on him. He doesn't know that. And so as he's, running, and there's a tigers behind him, so he doesn't even have the luxury to stop and watch and take his next step. So as he's rushing and gushing through this forest, he suddenly stops short. He's about to put his foot, and he realizes that he was going to fall into a well. And it was not an ordinary well. When he looks inside, and all this happens in a split second. As he looks inside the well, he sees that it's a well which is full of snakes, which Vidhu Mataji does not want to see. So all this is happening in a split second, and he's like, what do I do? So he's about to step in, and he looks here and there and everywhere. And as he looks up, he sees that there is a creeper. There's a tree over there, and then there is a creeper, across two branches of the tree. And Vidhuji, we are skipping that slide, so you can open your eyes. So he finds that there is a creeper right above it, right? So there's a well below, and he's about to step into it, and he sees that there is a creeper over there. And so he grabs it, for life, and he's hanging from that creeper. So you can imagine that he's hanging for his life. He's all alone in the forest. There's a tigress behind him. And if he lets go of his grip on the climber, then he is going to fall into the well, which is full of snakes. So he's really, really scared. And while he's in this scared and this frightened state, he's looking here and there at the creeper. He's thankful that the creeper is there to save his life, till he notices that there is actually a rat. Actually, there were some rats, not one. And there was a rat, and that was chewing at the creeper, which meant that any time they're going to cut through the creeper, and he's going to fall into the snake pit. So this was his condition. And of course, he's thinking, he's praying, he doesn't know what to do. He's hanging for his life. And then a mad elephant comes from somewhere. And what does he do? So while this guy is crying and he's saying, God, help me, God, help me, God, help me, nothing happens. He hears an elephant trumpet from the distance, and he's like, I don't know what's going to happen to me now. And while he's, shivering from fear, and if you shiver from fear, then your grip will, you let go of the grip. So he's like incomplete, he's completely bewildered. And as he's bewildered, looking around here and there for some help, he sees that there is actually a beehive also on that tree. Madhumakki ka chutta,
Oh
right?
my God.
Sees that it is there. And he says, oh God, oh Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then that elephant starts coming towards that tree. And this elephant is mad. And what the mad elephant does is that he pushes the entire tree. He goes and bangs his head against the tree. And the good news is that because he bangs that tree, this man who was hanging from the creeper and the tree and everything, they all fall down on the ground. So this man who was hanging on top of the well, which had snakes in it, falls on the other side, and he doesn't fall inside the well. So the trumpet of the elephant that he was very scared of and is thinking something more is coming at me, that was actually beneficial for him because he was saved from falling into the well. And as we might think that, oh, this is a very happy end to this story, and we start to glorify the Lord that, he came and saved him. But we forget one thing, that on the creeper, what were the things that were there on the creeper? Does anybody remember from this story?
Yeah, beehives
Beehives.
and rats.
And rats. There were beehives and the rats, and they all fell on the ground, right? So because of all this commotion, this happened. This man is shouting, "Save me, save me!" The elephant trumpets and comes, and then there's this big. So the bees there are not a happy bee. The bees there are unhappy. They get very, very angry. And what do the angry bees do?
Bite.
They catch this man, right? So he's now covered all over with the bees. Now, as all these things happen, remember the bees were in the beehive. Now, in the beehive, what else is there? There are bees and
Honey.
there's honey, right? So while all this is happening, some drops of honey fell from the beehive onto his mouth. He was opening his mouth and saying, because he was being bitten by the bees. He's saying, ah. So some of the drops fall inside his mouth. Some drops of honey fall inside his mouth. And then he takes out his tongue for more. And he says, this is the best honey I have ever tasted in my life. So what do you think this is called?
He's happy.
Miracle.
He's happy. He's miracle. What do you call this?
I think the story says that we have so many pleasures, so much happiness around us, but we have so many fears and things around us that we cannot enjoy the happiness. We are in trouble. So the only way to get out of it, Bhagwan ka naam leke bhakti karo.
Very
Then
nice.
the God helps you.
Thank you. Thank you for summarizing it. Very well said. Yeah. And so look at the situation of this man that, he's been bitten. He was just about to die. Bees are biting him all over his body. And he gets a little drop of happiness, just a little drop of happiness. And he's so happy. He forgets about all that happened to him in the last few seconds. I mean, we didn't like watching this gory story, but he gets a little drop of honey and he's happy. So this kind of happiness actually is called happiness of the fool. Right? This is the kind of happiness we should avoid running after. So when all this commotion happened, he had called out to the Lord, and Lord sent the elephant and all that stuff, and he's still teaching now the bees are biting him. So he's still saying, God, help me. So God listens. So then God comes. God came. Right? It's beautiful. He came on his Garuda. And there's a very beautiful shlok from Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes the Lord, right? And I'm going to bring that up here. Suparna skandha marudho miru shringami vambudha pitavasa kurvan dishaha. So what did he do? Suparna skandham arudho. Suparna means a bird. So which bird did he come on?
Garud.
Garud.
right?
Yeah.
So Uparna Skandam, Skandam means shoulder. So he was sitting, Arudo, he was sitting on the shoulders of the, he was sitting on the shoulders
Garuda.
of the bird of the Garuda, right? And then how was he appearing? He seemed like a cloud sitting on a mountain. So he looked like, black cloud because he's color of a cloud, and mountain because this Garuda is a huge bird with flapping wings. So it looks like a mountain. He looks like he's sitting like that on it. And then they're describing what was he wearing. What color of the dress? What was the color of his dress? Pitavasa. Pit means
Yellow.
yellow color.
Yellow.
Yes, he was wearing a yellow color. Mani Griva. Mani. He was wearing the
गले में मणियों की माला थी.
right. And particularly the Kastubha gem, the Kastubha Mani was on him, right? He was wearing that. And Kurvan Vitimira Dishaha. So what did he do? What did his arrival do? His arrival removed the darkness from all over the place. Vitimira Dishaha. Timira, whatever darkness was there, he, he removed all that, dissipated the darkness from all the directions by his arrival. So God is so effulgent. So he comes there to this man who has been praying to him. And then what does he say? He says to this man, he reaches out his hand. He reaches out his hand and he says, come hold my hand and I'll take you with me. And what do you guess the man said?
The honey is very nice. I want to taste it a little more. I want to stay over here.
Almost there, Varshana Mataji. He says, just a minute. Just a minute. And this is exactly what happens to us as well. I mean, we have been in beehive type of situations in our lives. Have you? Have you ever been in a beehive situation in life? Anybody who has never been in a beehive situation in their lives, please raise your hands and say Hare Krishna.
See,
I won't go near that.
So this is what life is. I mean, it was not as drastic as this is. This was just put together for effect, and definitely was not put together to scare Vibhuji, Vidhuji on that. But this is the reality. This is what life is, right? He forgot. He forgot everything. The Lord is there. The Lord is saying, "Come." And just because few drops of nectar or few drops of that honey had fallen on his face, he's just forgotten that there was a tigress behind him. He forgot that there was a pit of snakes. He forgot that there was a bees there. He forgot that he was hanging by the creeper which the mice were cutting. He forgot everything. And he says, just a minute. And he's sitting down and he's lapping the honey from the honeybee. He's like, oh, free kamal hai. I'm getting it for free. I don't have to pay for it. So he sits down and he's doing that. And of course, the Lord left without him. So this is something that we also need to keep in our mind, is that as we are preparing for in our life, if Lord ever comes, how ready are we to say, all right, you have come knocking at my door, let's go. And I'm not going to look behind and see what I'm leaving behind, like that, right? That is the intensity of affection, ruchi, asakti, prema, that a devotee has. We talked about the 9 stages of devotional service. At the highest stage of devotional service, they don't care. If the Lord comes, they're saying, fine, let's go. I'm happy that you're here. But that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in our lives. And so it's a reality. It's a reality. It's a fact of life. And so that is why, we have Prahlad, when he was small, he used to teach his classmates. He was born in a demonic family and of Hiranyakashipu, who was a big demon. And so he used to teach Vishnu Katha or Krishna Katha to his classmates. And there, in the 7th canto from Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, Shri Prahaladuvacha Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mito Bhipatyeta Griha Vratana Adanta Gobhir Vishatam Tamisham Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Puna Punascharvita Charvananam. And this is a very, very powerful verse. And the fact that it comes from the mouth of a 5-year-old boy, Prahlad, is indeed amazing. And what this verse says is, because of our uncontrolled senses, our senses are not under our control. They drag us in any which direction that they want to drag us. Because of the uncontrolled senses, people who are too addicted to material life. I want this, I want that, I want to enjoy this, I want to go to Big Sur, I want to drive on Highway 1, all those things I want to do, right? So what they do is they repeatedly chew what has already been chewn. Now, have you come across an animal that does that? Chews what has already been chewn?
Cow.
Cow.
How
Cows
does
do
that,
it.
right? Jugali karna, right? You have eaten it, and then you bring it out, you eat it again. You bring it out, eat it again, right? So you eat an ice cream, it's very tasty, it's cool, it's fantastic, it's got flavors, and then the ice cream is finished. It leaves some kind of a bad taste in the mouth because it was not natural sugar that they put some sweetener, there's a little bitter taste. And then after that, next day, again, we start eating the same ice cream again. And again, it leaves a bad taste over and over, over and over. We do that again, and we are not satisfied. Neither are we satiated like that. So this is what we are busy doing over and over again, no matter whether the bees are after us or the lion is after us or the tigress is after us. No, we don't care. As long as we get a few drops of happiness, we try to go there and relive it again and again, again and again. So when we are in such kind of a situation, when our focus is completely on the material way of living and there is no element of Krishna consciousness in our life, then my inclination towards Krishna will never be aroused. He's saying very, very strongly, he's saying never be aroused either by my own efforts. I do it by myself. Once some fine day, I realize, oh, what I have just, packed my house of things which are useless. I should just give it all away, sit down and do Ram Bhajan. Instead of doing that, I don't even do that. Or even if somebody else from outside comes and tells me to engage in Krishna consciousness, I just tell them, not now. I'm not interested in it. Answer to the gift. So this is what he's saying. Matirna Krishna parato swatova. Apne aap se swatova parato. Dusro ko kehne se. Either ways, you're not going to get inclination to Krishna consciousness as long as you are in this material world engaging, chewing what has already been chewed by you before. Right? So that's what he says. So we had all agreed that we have seen some beehive-like situations in our life. And so when you are in a situation like that, the predominant feeling that we have in us is that we are cornered. So we feel like that king on a chessboard, and all the other pieces on the chessboard have cornered the king. He has no other place to go. He cannot move. So we feel like that. And if sometimes life brings us to a situation where we feel that we are cornered, for example, this coronavirus has cornered a lot of us. We have to literally sit in a corner. What to talk about, metaphorically, that we are cornered. So literally we are cornered over here. And so it's a problem. It's a situation. We are hanging by a creeper. And
Thread.
a man couldn't have done anything about it. He had to, he had to get some help from somewhere. There had to be an elephant, and a powerful, mighty animal had to come and push the tree out of from over the well so that this man could be saved, right? But even after that, there were bees to handle for him like that, right? So one of the things that we have to see that and understand that when we face problems in our lives, when we face problems in our life, there is unhappiness, and we are seeking happiness. Now, why do you think we are always seeking happiness? What's the reason?
Because of the expectation, mothering, because we expected something good which never happened. So then that situation makes us unhappy.
No. So the Baba was asking, why do we seek happiness?
Because we don't want to be sad.
for the sense gratification, we want to enjoy.
Hare Krishna. It gives us pleasure, Mataji.
And why are we seeking pleasure? Why are we
Because-
doing like
Because
that?
this is our
Because
our
we
desire.
always
We are meant
happy.
to enjoy.
Material happiness
You
is
will-
given to us.
Good, good, good. All good answers, all good attempts. We have to remember one thing, that if we are pleasure seekers, and all of us are pleasure seekers, we try to find pleasure in this, that, everywhere. Kids try to find pleasure, young people, adults, old people, people about to die. They even want to have pleasure, right? Like that. So there's nothing to feel bad about the fact that I'm a pleasure seeker. And the reason for that is that Krishna is a pleasure seeker. Krishna himself seeks pleasure. And so if Krishna seeks pleasure, why do I have to seek pleasure? The reason for that is that I am a part of Krishna. And so what qualities Krishna has, I will also have those qualities. If Krishna likes to seek pleasure, then I will also be seeking pleasure in a smaller quantity. Krishna might seek pleasure in a bigger quantity. Because Krishna is the supreme pleasure seeker, that is why he created all.
Cornered.
Can you please mute everyone?
Okay.
Cornerstone.
Cornerstone नहीं है, cornered. CORN.
I'm just
Shraddhaji, can you please mute everyone?
Yeah, you know what? I don't have the privileges to mute everybody. They have to mute themselves.
No, you can. You can just mute everyone.
It's
You
not.
are host.
Yeah, it's not allowing me to. It's just saying ask all to unmute, mute all. Yeah,
Okay, it's only 2 people left. 3. It's okay now.
yeah, it's okay. Then I can mute few individually. I can mute, and then others. Yeah, okay. So there we go. And then you can always unmute yourself if you have a question to ask. So that's like that, right? So yeah, so I was saying that Krishna is a pleasure seeker, and because he likes to enjoy, that's why he has created all of us. And the idea was that all of us together will enjoy, because you cannot enjoy all alone. The process of enjoyment requires at least 2. There is an enjoyer and there is an enjoyed. There is the ice cream and then there is you. There's a mother and there is a child, right? There is one friend and there is another friend, like that. So there's always 2 that are involved in enjoyment. And because Krishna is infinite, so he also created infinite living entities, or infinite atmas, or infinite jivas, infinite souls like us. So it's not unusual that we have this desire to enjoy, but the only thing is that what exactly are you enjoying? Like if you like to eat food, then what are you eating? Right? That's where the difference lies. So in this process of trying to enjoy, we make lofty plans and the plans are not met. We come across obstacles and we feel really, really cornered. And there's a big problem that comes in our hands and we do not know how to solve it. Right? For example, there's a little kitten and you give to a ball of wool, no? Un ka gola. If you give a ball of wool to a kitten, what does the kitten do? Unmute yourself and tell me.
Play with it.
It'll play.
Very happy holding it here.
Very happy. It'll open it all over the place. And after some time,
Yes.
it got completely entangled in that wool, right? And all its leg and feet are like bound by that piece of yarn with which it was playing, right? It's quite often it happens like that, right? So when you have entered into a situation, when you have entered and you're facing a problem like that, how can I find the solution to that? There are bees that are stinging at my face. What can I do about it, right? All that I know from my intelligence is to wave my hands and then, make the bees fly away. But the more I wave my hands, the bees get even more angry at that they come and bite even more, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to solve the problem from the level of my intellect or the level of my consciousness, right? So Albert Einstein, now you all know Albert Einstein, right? He's a very famous scientist, very, very intelligent. Albert scientist says that no problems, watch, very powerful words are here. He says no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Which means if a kitten has got itself bound by the yarn, the kitten doesn't have the intelligence to know how to get out of it. It requires the master to come and solve the problem. Right? Similarly, small kids, they break something, or their hands get caught up in something, or they open a bottle and now things are flowing out of it and they don't know how to control it. So their consciousness is at the kid's level of consciousness. It requires a parent to come and fix that problem. So we have to understand that if we try to fix problems, material problems with the material consciousness, then you won't find a solution. And this is the state of life, that for most of the problems that we have tried to find a material solution. And because of that material solution, we now have got more material problems. Is that right or right? Do you agree? Has
Yes.
happened to you, right? For
Right.
example,
Right.
we wanted to go fast from one place to another place. So we could have a bullock cart which would take us from one place to another place. But we were not satisfied. We wanted it to be faster. So we went and created motor car. And because of motor car, now we have accidents, now we have pollution, now we have to work really very hard to be able to afford a motor car because the neighbor has got a motor car, and so on and so forth, right? So when we try to solve a problem, material problem, through material solutions, invariably there'll be some side effects of that, which will be problematic. So we have to raise ourselves to a higher level. And that is why we say, especially all of us coming from India are very lucky, because we have grown up with these instructions from our parents that whenever you face any problems, you turn towards the Shastras. See what the Shastras are saying. See what the Bhagavad Gita says. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is called a manual for life, right? It's a manual for life. You read the Bhagavad Gita, it'll tell you everything that you need to know in life. Everything. It's such a fantastic manual. It can help you handle anything. If you're a student, you are a grihastha, you are a president, you want to know how to do management, you are a warrior, whatever you are there, the answers to Bhagavad Gita are there for you. Similarly with the Bhagavatam. So our Shastras are very, very powerful. And Lord Krishna has spoken these Shastras for us, for our benefits, to help us face these problems, which he knows that we are going to end into it. And so these Shastras also talk about happiness, actually. So if you look at our Shastras, which will come to our rescue, just as the elephant came to that man's rescue, right? So just as that elephant came to that man's rescue, the Shastras are there for us to rescue. And here is a quick rundown, in the Bhagavad Gita, which has got 700 odd shlokas, 133 times the word happiness appears there. 133 times there is a mention of happiness in Bhagavad Gita. If we turn to the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very close to 1,999 times this Shastra talks about, happiness from various angles and various perspectives. It's there, right? But we need to know certain facts about happiness and what happens, when you try to pursue happiness here in life. So some of the facts, again, are coming from the mouth of Bhakta Prahlad, the small boy, Hiranyakashipu's son. But of course, Bhakta Prahlad is a Bhakt in his own right. And so, like I said, he used to teach Krishna consciousness to his fellow classmates there. You can see most of them princes and others. And so one of the famous verses that he says, and it's very beautiful, beautiful verse. Again, all verses from Prahlad Maharaj are beautiful. And he says, Kutra shisha stuti sukha mriga trishni rupaha kvedam kale varam ashesha rujam virohaha nirvidyate natu jana yad apiti vidvan kamanalam madhulave samayan durapai. So what does that mean? What is he trying to say in this verse? So Prabhupada translates that to us, and he says that in this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness. future happiness every living entity desires. So, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. That's what he says. Mrig Trishni Rupa. Mrig Trishna is mirage. Things do not exist, but it appears they are there for you. Where is water in the desert? Where is the water in the desert? Or, in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for this body, what is its value? It's merely a source of various diseases. The so called philosophers, scientists, and politicians knew this very well, but nonetheless, they aspire for temporary happiness. And then here comes the gem of advice from him. He says, happiness is very difficult to obtain, but because they are unable to control their senses, which is mostly most of us, he's saying because we are unable to control our senses, we run after the so-called happiness of the material world, and we never come to the right conclusion. So we are running, 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 and the tigress is following us. And we are running after some happiness in this material world throughout, right? So what is the mantra? If the scene is so bad, if the scene is so bad, then what am I supposed to do, right? So here comes the mantra 1 for us. And the mantra says, tolerate. Whatever is happening to you, tolerate, tolerate, tolerate. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Marta sparshastu konteya sitoshur sukha dukkada agam apanyo nityastam titikshasva bharata. So he says that all these feelings of unhappiness, the distress, etc., or even happiness that you're feeling, this is only coming because your senses are getting engaged or connecting with the objects of the senses. For example, the object of the sense of eyes, sense of sight, the object of that is form. So eyes are always looking for a form. Eyes are not looking for a good smell. Similarly, the sense of the nose, the sense of smell. So this organ is always sensing there is some good food, is there halwa being made, or is there pulao being made, whatever, like that. It's always sensing for smell. So as long as we get some unhappiness or we get some happiness, it's only happening because your senses are getting engaged with the objects of the senses. And he says, this is the only reason. Martha sparshastu konteya, just because you are touching them, your senses are touching these objects. That is why you feel the shita, dukha, heat, cold, happiness, distress. You're just doing that. But he says, agam apaniyo anityas. He says that these are just like, just as the seasons come and go. This happiness and distress, so both of them, and this is a very, very powerful shloka that Krishna says, because happiness, we don't have any problem. Happiness is there, no complaints. But when the distress comes, the complaint starts. And how do I handle this? How do I handle this? And this verse comes to our rescue, because this verse says that it is distress. Yes, we agree. But you know what? It'll go away. Just as the winter season goes away and is followed by spring, similarly, this bad thing will also go away. It will be followed by good. And remember, but that as the spring goes away and the summer season comes where there's a heat again, similarly in this life, good things will also go away. They'll be followed by bad. Bad will be followed by good. And this is a cycle that happens. And then he says, Tam titikshasva bharata. Titikshva means learn how to tolerate. So know two things, that these are impermanent, both of them. And it's very, very important for us to also handle happiness with that idea and with that consciousness that happiness is also short-lived. So that when the happiness goes away, you will not feel unhappy because you were already expecting it. You knew that this is going to come to an end. Just as when somebody comes to visit you, you know that they are not come to your home permanently, they will go away, right? So they will go away. Similarly, when person you did not want to come to your home, they come to your home, then also you know that they will go away. Like that, similarly, good and bad, they all go away. In your life, just learn to tolerate. And the important thing that Krishna is saying is, and which might appear as like, wow, Krishna is also telling me to tolerate the happiness. Not just the unhappiness. He's saying, learn to tolerate happiness also. Don't get carried away by your happiness. Sometimes people, aajkal paun zameen par nahi padte mere, like that. Don't do anything because of that, right? So learn, that's the mantra number 1, that learn how to tolerate. And actually, tolerating things is a very important virtue. And in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Shaknoti haivaya shodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhi naraha. So he says, very important thing about controlling the senses and tolerating. He says, before giving up his present body, so before we die, which means now, right? If one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger. So 2 forces, if we learn how to control that, then you are well situated and you are happy in the real world. It's very, very important to know that part. Right? So let's go further over here. That this is the first mantra, and next week when I come, next month when I come, I'll ask you about these mantras. So I'm also going. I want some custodians here, some devotees from Modesto who will keep a mantra with them. So the first mantra was tolerate, tolerate, tolerate. So is there anybody who wants to keep it and will remember it for 1 month and tell me when I come back again? Hopefully, Viduji. Okay, so Viduji is going to take mantra number 1. Okay, she's going to take that now. Mantra number 2 is put your heart in the right place. This is also a key to happiness. And what does that mean? So let's take a situation here. There is a very famous saying, and it says that there are 2 days in your life. There are 2 days in your life when you are happy, right? And let's see, what are they saying? What are the 2 days in a life when you're happy? The first day is when you buy your boat.
Hello.
Anita, are you downstairs?
So the day you buy your boat is the day you are happy. Do you agree? Happens most of the time, right? Buying a boat is a big thing, right? You buy a boat, you are happy. Now watch. What do you think is the second day that you are happy? Day 1, when you buy a boat. Day number 2.
You sell it.
The day you sell your boat. Now, isn't that amazing? Stark opposite things. The day you buy your boat, you're happy. The day you sell your boat, you're happy. Exactly opposite things. So let's see, why would you be happy when you buy your boat?
Because then you can go place.
Yeah, you can go sailing. That's one thing. Yes. Any other reasons why you'd be happy?
One task finish off from the list.
Maybe hurricane is coming.
So Garima says that there is one task off from the list. That was a list of some tasks to be done. Okay, I bought the boat, finished. And one is that I'm going to sail in it. And Usha Mataji, what were you saying?
I said that maybe hurricane is coming, he is having too much damaging, it's hard to control it or whatever.
No,
he's happy that he sold it.
I'm
so he doesn't have to go.
I'm talking about the day you buy your boat.
Oh, no, I was talking about when selling. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
have a big property.
You have a big property, yeah. You have got an asset. You have an asset.
Asset.
You have got, and then
Asset.
prestige. What about the prestige? Right.
Prestige.
Yes.
Right. These are the reasons that you would be happy when you buy a boat. And then now let's look and see, why are you happy doing the exact opposite thing? That day also you're happy now. Usha ji said that it could be that hurricanes are quite often there. I bought a boat, it was a wrong investment, and I'm not able to control it, so I'm going to sell the boat. Okay, what could be another reason? you'll be happy selling the boat.
The burden is gone, Mataji.
What has gone?
The burden to keeping
Burden.
such a
A
big
burden of,
possession.
okay, it's a burden to keep it. It's difficult to maintain it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Friends
Oh,
keep.
you need money.
You need
Maybe you
money.
don't have. Maybe you don't have that much time as you thought that you will have to enjoy it.
Yeah, so it's
And
just
you
hanging.
don't have that much time.
Yeah, so it's just hanging in the dark, and you have to pay money to park your boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Right. So you see, so there are reasons. So you had reasons for both the actions. For both the situations, you had very solid reason. You had some faith in your heart that if I sell this boat now, I'm going to be happy. And on day one, you had, you had something in your heart which said that I am going to be happy if I buy this boat. So essentially, where you put your faith, where you put your heart is going to define a lot of things in your life. And Shraddha, which means faith, the word Shraddha actually comes from two words. Shrad means heart and Dha means to place it. So Shraddha is where do you place your heart? So in the core of your heart, whatever you believe is going to make you happy is going to make you happy. So on day one, I had the faith that, if I am able to go out in the sea and sail, or if I'm going to get the prestige, of that I'm an owner of a boat, all that is going to make me happy. So because of that faith that I had, I purchased the boat. And then a few years later, I had the faith that if I get rid of this, I will be happy. So it comes from your heart, and where exactly are you placing your heart? And that is what the question that is to be asked, and that is what you have to observe, and will lead to happiness or distress, depending on where you have placed your heart. Anarthopashanam sakshat bhakti yogam madhokshaje lok sajjanato vidyam chakre satvata samhitam. So he says, approach Srimad Bhagavatam, they're saying that the material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, it's not the soul. The soul thinks that I am the body and then suffers because of the body. Although, you're cutting the body, nothing's happening to the soul, but why is the soul feeling the pain? Because the soul thinks that I am this body. So these pains, etc., are superfluous to the soul. But the material miseries of the living entity or the soul, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated. Okay, I know, I understand. I have this false ego. I understand I'm the body, but tell me what I'm supposed to do. So, okay, these things can be directly mitigated by linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this. Majority of the people do not know this. Lokasya janato, loka, general people do not know that. And therefore, the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which in relation to the supreme truth. And this is the only way that, we know that we are here in this material world. It is a dukhalayam, we all agreed. But then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta raja rajasatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. So he says that you have come to this material world and you have been awarded this, anityam asukham. There's no sukh over here. Anityam, it's going to be finished. Then now that you have got it, buddy, you are cornered. What can you do? Yes, Swamam. He says, you pray and you do devotional service to me. So where should you place your heart? You should place your heart in devotional service. Okay, so I will stop over here. We are on the top of the hour. We can take a few minutes of reflections if needed. And
Now I got the meaning of your name, Mataji.
there you go. So what were the two mantras? To wrap it up, I'll ask that question.
Tolerance and
Tolerate.
Put your heart in the right place.
And
Right.
what's the right place?
Yes. And
Devotional
happiness.
service.
In devotional service.
Devotion, right?
Shraddha.
Shraddha.
Have Shraddha
Yes.
and devotional service.
Yes. Yes. Very right. So,
Where to place the heart?
yes. Yes. So,
Where to place the
yeah.
heart?
So, mantra 1 is with Vidhuji. And who's taking mantra 2?
Put your heart in the right place.
Yes. Who's going to take care? Are you going to take care of it? Hmm?
Ushaji can take.
Ushaji can take.
Ushaji wants to take? Okay.
But what do I have to do?
You have to remember, now you have to, for next month, you have to put the heart in the right place all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, you notice the difference.
All right.
Okay. So with this, I'll bring the session to a close here. Thanking all of you, dear devotees.
Thank you.
Vidhuji, for inviting me here.
Nice to see
Vancha
you.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevcha patitanam pavane vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Hare
Radha Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Very, very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Shraddhaji. Thank you so much
Happy
for
New
your service and, spreading the such good words of Krishna. We are really, really very thankful to
Very
you.
thankful to you. Very thankful.
Thank you. And I'm trying to give the host back to you, Vidhuji.
Okay,
Some reason I
sure.
can't find it. Let me see if I can find that, and I'll stop recording this.